Joined here by Cam Inman from the Bay Area News Group. He's been out there all week with the Niners at camp. And let's start with sort of the talk of camp, the quarterback situation. Kyle Shanahan wants to go in with 4. Brock Purdy's going to be the starter, but after that, it seems like a toss-up. Cam, what's your take on the situation?
Well, first of all, welcome to the Bay. And as you quickly found out, everything about the 49ers revolves around the 49er quarterback situation, right? So they have 4. And right now, they are rotating through them at a kind of a dizzying rate where you'd think that maybe Trey Lance and Sam Darnold need a lot of reps to kind of get back in the flow of things. But more importantly, Brock Purdy does, as, like you said, the presumed #1 quarterback going in. And I guess just the fact that Brock is healthy for the start of camp was a mild surprise or a pleasant surprise. He's only participated in 2 practices, and he seemed to get better in the second one. Kyle Shanahan called him I believe the words were decisive and detailed, which is what you want out of a quarterback. As he's shaking that rust off, getting the timing and rhythm down again. It's really early to kind of go over the pecking order, but you're right. It's looking like Brock Purdy will be #1. Can Sam Darnold catch Trey Lance for the #2 job? That's kind of the mystery, I think, of camp. And then what do you do with Brandon Allen, depending on what you do with the other guys?
Outside of the quarterbacks, who has stood out to you most during this first week?
Brandon Ayuk, BA, whatever name you want to call him. I mean, he's been the star. Jake Moody, the rookie kicker, he's done really well. There's not that much you can do poorly at. I mean, there's no real mess. You're not kicking in Lambeau in the snow, right? You're kicking on a sunny Santa Clara day with the wind at your back. But he's looked good as a rookie kicker. And that's kind of the thing is, like, we're looking to find out in this training camp which guys are going to emerge, because we already knew Brandon Ayuk was a 1,000-yard receiver last year. You want to see Deebo Samuel kind of get in the mix a little bit more. And then the pads come on Monday, and that's when the football really ramps up, because right now it's just kind of been feeling everything out, making sure the muscles don't get pulled. And so the training camp's going to really ramp up in the next week. And then the following week they go to the Raiders and scrimmage with them for a couple of days before the first preseason opener. And I guess the biggest question up to that point is going to be, when is Nick Bosa going to join them?
There's been a very nonchalant feel around the Nick Bosa conversations. Everyone's very confident that something is going to come together. Yeah. Do you buy into that, or do you think there's more trouble in paradise than what we're seeing?
I don't sense any panic whatsoever, because I think both parties know what's being discussed and negotiated is going to be a massive contract. He's the reigning defensive player of the year. He could reset the market for all defensive players, make over $32 million a year. Obviously, he's got the credentials to back that up. I don't get a sense that there's a panic that he's not here, because he's usually not here during the off seasons. And I don't get any sense of animosity from either party that they're upset that he's not here or Nick doesn't want to be here. I just sense that it's going to be such a complex deal, and if there's anybody that could miss time, is Nick Bosa. So, I mean, what's the deadline? I think the deadline is probably a month away, when the season's going to start.
Well, and it could be a somewhat new defense. Steve Wilks now the coordinator, so Bosa might have to catch up on that. I'm curious, how different does this defense look now that DeMeco Ryans is gone and Steve Wilks is calling the shots?
Well, I think there's 2 things that have jumped out at me, kind of watching how Steve coordinates these defensive practices. And one, there is going to be more blitzing. That's what we're all led to assume. And you've got 2 really capable linebackers in Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. You have some defensive backs that are hungry and want to get in there as well. But then I also watch Steve, and he's kind of a cornerbacks coach at heart. So he often takes time talking to a cornerback and coaching them up. And I like to see that. Not that the past cornerbacks coaches haven't been doing the job, but I like to see somebody with Steve's experience kind of translate that to a young cornerback, because this is such a pass-oriented league. Dre Greenlaw was saying that it just seems natural that Steve has come in here, and it's almost been like he's always been here. I think that's what you want for continuity's sake.
Well, Cam, season still a little bit of ways, but I'm looking forward to talking with you throughout the season and for all your coverage, and we appreciate you taking time today.
All right, my pleasure.